Hey, let's take it higher. God told me to tell you, child, don't worry, keep it moving. If they walk out and you lose them, you just know that heaven still has your...
Today's guest is a Renaissance woman who specializes in content creation, writing, and I honestly think the girl can walk on water. She's a producer, she's an author, and she's a new filmmaker. Please welcome to the show, Tanikia Carpenter.
So the struggle became real for me when I was working a job that I absolutely hated. And I was in that position for 3 years. And it was 3 years of confusion, depression. I was applying for jobs out there. Nobody was answering. So I was sort of kind of stuck in this one position. And I knew I wanted to be a filmmaker, but that job sucked everything out of me. And so I had a thought that actually scared me one day while working at the job was, the thought was, I'll never be a filmmaker, ever. And when I had that thought, it scared me because I've always been like an optimistic person, full of faith and hope. And so had that thought, went home and bought a book about filmmaking. And I started to read that book on my lunch break. And so fast forward to about a year later, it was time to say if we were gonna come back or not. The job was it was a nonprofit organization, so they wanted to know are you gonna come back this year or not? And I didn't have anything lined up, but I knew that God was telling me this is up, and I knew it because for the job we worked with kids, and I had a dream that I was walking with two of my students, and we were looking for shoes, and none of the shoes I put on fit. And so when I woke up, I knew God was telling me, these are no longer your shoes to fill. So had that dream. I knew God was telling me to quit, but I didn't have anything lined up at all. But I got to a point where I had to step out on faith, and I was willing to go back home. I would go back home to my mother's house if I had to, give up my apartment. I just knew that this next level would require faith. And so I put in my 2 weeks notice. Put in my notice and was like, okay, God, now what? Had met my husband at the time, but we were just dating. And so I just drafted up a contract really quickly to do social media for small businesses in the city. Sent it out there okay, whatever happens, happen, and got 2 clients. And so it wasn't a lot, but it was enough for me to have when the Bible talks about our daily bread, I just had enough to make it, literally enough to make it. That's it. That's all. And so, I did that for about a year or so, and then was able to transition into writing and blogging and getting contracts and really doing what I wanted to do. And so, that struggle was basically being between a rock and a hard place and knowing this is not what God called me to do. And I have something inside of me that he wants to pull out. So either I'm going to stay here and be miserable every day, or I'm really going to step out on faith and trust that when I step out, God got me. And so I think that was a pivotal time in life where we hear about elder people saying I tried him and I know him, but that was a time where man, stepping out on faith is legit. It's solid. It's not shaky. God is going to lead me and guide me. And so that was the turning point, so to speak. For people who are searching for a career that fits them, my advice is to honestly seek the Lord, and whatever that may be for you. But for me, it was seeking God, because I feel right now we're in a time where everybody is an entrepreneur, everybody is a boss, but that's not everybody's calling. It's okay to be a nurse. It's okay to do hair, whatever you feel called to do, it's okay. Be confident in that. But you definitely don't want to waste years of trying to pursue something that God is I never meant for you to pursue that. Deep down inside, I meant for you to do this, or deep down inside, you're very talented at that. And so take a moment, even if it's 3 months off of social media, because we can be really influenced by what everybody else is doing. And we're okay, I think I'm supposed to do that too. When you're you're not, because I had a stage where I thought I was supposed to have a box because, my league had curl box. And so I thought I was supposed to have a box too, but that's not my calling, and that's okay. And so take time to really look at your passion. I always say, T.D. Jakes had a quote that said, if you look at your history, you'll see your destiny. So go back to those things that you naturally did as a child. Like those are like your foundation, your roots of like what you're supposed to be doing now. So think about it, go back, seek God, pray, and doors will open out of nowhere. It's guaranteed.